Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello, and welcome to an early edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton, and I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. Today it's rather overcast. We've been having, you probably couldn't even hear any of that, could you? Anyway, welcome to the early edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. And we have overcast skies, but it is finally a little bit dry. We're having ongoing weather, rain off the coast apparently all week and into the weekend. We're going to have it for another 3 or 4 days. And why do you think that is? I can tell you, I'm an astrologer. It's because we have Uranus and Mercury both changing signs, and it's at the very bitter end of a sign about to go into Earth sign Taurus. So of course we're feeling some of that energy in the sky already, and I honestly don't know what else is going on weather-wise in the rest of the country because I have been trying to avoid the news. And the news has been, there was a time when it was like, well, there are some news stories and I don't particularly want to see them, or it's all about the crime all the time. But now it's just over the top. I mean, I know it's been that way for a while, but it just seems like that's all there is. There isn't even any break. And so I just I don't go on the news the way I did. I'm such a news holic, so I really want to know what's going on in the world. When you work alone, very kind of singularly, you get a little like needing to have more information, and that's just not happening. So I don't really know what's going on weather-wise, but I do know we have a volcano that's erupting in Hawaii. So the volcano in Hawaii, Kilauea, has been just getting worse and worse. And part of that is because we have these planets in Capricorn. And I really would like to see some of the birth charts of the people who live right on the volcano. My guess is they have very strong Pluto or Scorpio in their charts. So Uranus is at 29 Aries and 59 minutes as we speak, which is why I scheduled this show earlier today, because it actually changes signs along, well, Mercury is now at 3 degrees Taurus, so that changed on Saturday. But Uranus goes in at, I want to say 11:16. You think I would have that memorized because it's such a significant thing, and I did. It's 11:16. So 11:16 a.m. means that right 16 minutes into my podcast, if I had started at 11 a.m., would have been interrupted on some level. And I really was thinking, I'm an astrologer. I can sidestep this, so I'm going to start my show an hour early. And that's what I did. So I apologize to those of you who didn't get the word. I put it on Facebook. I put it on LinkedIn. I put it on Instagram. So hopefully you'll pop in. You'll see that it's up early this week and pop in here in a little bit. And we can have someone to chat with. I would really like to chat with you. So if you are tuning in and hear this on any of the other streaming places, I'm not even sure if it streams anywhere but Blog Talk, the number is 347-994-3365, and you can hop on, and then if you want a reading, you can hit 1, and I will get you at the bottom of the hour after I go over what's going on in the stars. So anyway, let's get back to what's going on. So currently we have a Cancer rising in Orlando, but we have a North Node in Leo at 8 degrees retrograde. We have Jupiter at 17 Scorpio, and he is also retrograde. He's opposing the Sun at 24 Taurus, and the Moon is at 25 Taurus, which means we literally just had a new moon. My mouth just wants to go straight to full moon. No, it's actually new moon at 7:48 a.m. Eastern. But just think about that. So 7:48 was almost 2 hours ago. So in 2 hours, the moon has moved almost 2 degrees, just under, actually 1 degree, almost 2 degrees. So that kind of gives you an idea how fast he moves. It takes 2.5 days for the moon to move signs, but we are basically wherever the sun is in the sky, so is the moon today. So that's called gust. It means that the sun's energy supersedes or overshines, not overshadows, overshines the moon's. And we don't really see the moon because we can't, because we're looking at the sun. So anyway, moon and sun in Taurus. Of course, Mercury in Taurus now, and Uranus goes into Taurus later. That means 4 planets and lights are in the Taurus. So of course, we're going to have this intense energy of growth. And I'm not immune. I am finishing my book. I have a deadline of this evening after Mars goes into Aquarius. Because Mars also moves into Aquarius today at, let's see, I have my glasses on, so let me get my glasses on. So 9:55 p.m. Pacific and 12:55 a.m. Eastern to morning. So that's Wednesday the 16th in Eastern time zones. And actually, Eastern is the only time zone that it's on Wednesday. And then Central, Mountain, Pacific are all today. But we don't get it until tomorrow. So anyway, Mars, so that really means that tomorrow morning is nothing's getting done, sent out probably at 10 p.m. Well, no, at 1 in the morning. And then tomorrow in the morning at 3 a.m. Wednesday Eastern, and just after 12 Pacific, we have Mars squaring Uranus. So, of course, that is something that I'm going to take advantage of after that square happens. Actually, it might not even be until Thursday. I've got some business dealings that I am waiting to have positive aspects on, and I really want to do them today. But I wasn't do it. I actually was going to put out a couple things at 11:15 because Mercury and Uranus are conjunct at the moment. But we also have moon aspects, and the moon is, well, there's a positive aspect at 4:30 today. So if I can do something before 4:30, that'll probably be good. The moon will be in Taurus then, and it's in trine to Mars in Capricorn at 4:30 Eastern, and that's right before it goes void, of course, which means, of course, you don't want to do anything because it means nothing will come from it. And I want something to come from it. So I think probably between 11:16 a.m. today and 4:30 this afternoon, prime time to release things and do sign things and do something. So it will come to fruition and be good. And then after that, for like another day, we've got the moon entering Gemini and then sextiling Chiron, which can be positive, I suppose. It means that we're talking about our hurt. And then Mars goes into Aquarius. This is today. Mars goes to Aquarius at, like I said, at 1 in the morning Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific. And so I don't know. I really wanted Mars in Aquarius because what I'm doing relates to astrology. So once Mars goes into Aquarius, then right after that, the next aspect is a square to Uranus, not my favorite. And then Moon in conjuncts Saturn, which is in Capricorn, and Moon is in Gemini then. So that means that there's a difficult aspect. So the Moon is very emotional, wanting to chat about things and talk and analyze the emotions, but Saturn in Capricorn is not really wanting to be very emotional and is much more pragmatic. And actually, the Moon in Gemini can be very practical, but the problem is that Saturn is very stoic and kind of just wants to get things done and doesn't want to be bothered by a bunch of details, but the moon in Gemini wants to do the details and wants to talk about them. So that's where there's a disconnect tomorrow evening between us and another person who may represent that Saturn energy. Then right after that, the moon squares Neptune in Pisces. So, of course, moon in Gemini. Gemini squares Pisces. And so the moon, again, analytical, wanting to dissect, and the moon in Pisces absolutely just wants to feel and go with the flow and intuit everything. So those two are coming from two different mindsets or two different energy spaces. And so that can be a difficult time where we may have our moon energy or a mother figure stepping on toes of whatever our ideal may be or our vision. And right after that, the moon inconjuncts Jupiter in Scorpio. So we've got an inconjunct, not my least favorite, square, not great, but you do get living and growth from a square. And then we have another inconjunct. And then tomorrow morning, we have the moon conjunct to Pluto. So again, chatty, chatty moon. Poor moon. I feel bad. Geminis, you're probably going to have some difficulty in the next couple days from this because of that continuous conflict going on in your world. And it can also mean, now remember, we have two electronic planets, Mercury and Uranus, in the Earth energy, which is Taurus, and that means our material goods or hardware related to electronics. So our phone itself, or the computer, or the electric grid, that's Uranus. And then we also have electrical storms and things that relate to the ground. So a lot of ground energy when it comes to storms. I've got, like, I wake up and there's fog around because the clouds are really low right now, and that's because the energy is close to the earth. So earth energy is what we're moving into. So the electrical energy that Gemini moon is creating, it might clear things up a little bit more, with the one exception of evening on Wednesday, because that's when moon squares a water energy of Neptune, and then right after hits that Jupiter in Scorpio. So that's the deep emotional time. Wednesday evening is going to bring out a lot of deep feelings, a lot of sentimentality, and on a national scale, that can mean we have something that's going to be more sad or trigger us on a sad level. Personally, again, trigger us on a personal level towards something that we don't necessarily want to let go of, but is honestly not particularly in our best interest, and it might be better for us to let it go. And then Thursday, the 17th, we have we have another inconjunct. Get my tongue on. Another inconjunct. I think I just mentioned that, of Moon to Pluto, and then the Moon joins up with Venus at 2:18 on Thursday, and so Venus in Gemini. She's kind of working both sides of the street, and Moon means that, like, our whole feminine energy is now saying, this is the intellectual take on something. And also, we may say one thing and then do another, or we may have two different stories. But it is also the energy of education and women in education, female teachers, and that's getting more heightened. A lot of, and it's not just the Gemini energy, it's obviously Jupiter and Scorpio also, because Jupiter rules higher education. But this week, with the moon in Gemini and Venus in Gemini, we're really having that challenge in education. I just watched a little snippet on local news about, it wasn't local news, it was national news, about teachers' unions and people who aren't in a union, but teachers really rallying for more pay. So that's definitely a strong energy this week. And then Thursday at 5:47 p.m., the moon enters Cancer, and immediately afterwards, sextile Uranus, and then an inconjunct to Mars in Aquarius, and a square to Aries. So if you're looking at getting something going, probably that snippet of time right there, between 5:47 and 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday looks pretty good, until the moon inconjuncts, and then right at 8:09 squares Chiron. And then actually Friday is a really positive day, because we have the moon sextiling Mercury. We have an opposition to Saturn, but I don't always find that difficult. It may mean cooperation and synergy, synchronicity. It's a good thing. And then Mercury trines Saturn on Friday. And so Mercury in Taurus trining Saturn Friday, 49 p.m. Again, that can be a really good time to sign things. Mercury rules contracts. Taurus is grounding and fruition and bringing a lot of fruitful monetary energy to something. And then Saturn is creating the structure real solid. And then afterwards, we have pretty good aspects until Saturday evening when the moon squares Uranus and Taurus. So it's kind of a mixed bag as we do the moon energy this week, but astrologically, with what else is going on big time, we've got Saturn at 8 degrees Capricorn retrograde, which puts him in trine to Mercury today. We've got Pluto at 21 Capricorn retrograde, and so Pluto is in trine to the moon and the sun right now. And then we've got Mars at 29, like I said, 29 degrees and 45 minutes of Capricorn. So what Mars is doing is Mars is wrapping up his drive to create something solid and to redo systems. It's about shifting and changing the energy around the home now, and also career and the structure of home life as well as career, because when we have the polarities, which mean opposite signs, we have Cancer energy opposite Capricorn. So if you have any kind of Cancer planets, you're definitely looking to redefine the structure of your environment and also the structure of your career. Now, I personally have really early degree Aquarius ruling my house of home and family. So when Mars moves out of Capricorn into Aquarius, it actually goes into my home and family house. So a Scorpio rising. So if you have a Scorpio rising, you may have that energy coming and approaching. And so that means that there's something changing and shifting around your home environment. And I have a kitchen that's very outdated. I mean, it's okay. It's livable. It's just wood cabinets, but they very much look like the 1980s. So I've gotten approval from my lady to repaint those, and it's kind of a project that I'm really anxious to get to. And I'm going to spruce up the house. So that kind of expresses the energy and shows you how where your drive, wherever Mars is, that's where drive is. That's where your focus can be. And we've been in an energy of Capricorn, which is feeling responsible, potentially feeling fearful, connecting to the elderly or those who are more mature, or the traditional people who, the people in our lives who are very stable and solid. And it's also kind of old school corporate jobs, things where jobs where you go in and you get a paycheck, and it's very consistent and reliable. Then Mars moves into Aquarius and immediately hits the south node at 8 degrees, or is within orb to be conjunct to the south node, which means we're bringing back up energy from the past. And this is also conjunct to a lot of energy around the country. I just have to say, I do think that when Mars goes into Aquarius, Donald Trump is highly beholden to the center, because whoever is sitting in the office of president always gets triggered by the first degrees of Aquarius on some level, because that's the degree with which the sun is at on the day of inauguration, because the inaugural day is always the same in our country, which is like the state of Sun in Aquarius. So Mars will be conjuncting the Sun in Aquarius, and Sun is ego, but in Aquarius it is eccentricity or quantum energy. So we're not very linear about things. We're a little bit erratic, scattered, and that's from a linear perspective. From a quantum perspective, it makes complete sense, and we go wherever the energy flows. But in a linear, which of course Capricorn right now is very linear, it's not going to make sense. By the way, that means that he's probably going to either do something that's even more erratic than he normally is, or he's going to seem more of a humanitarian. And as the whole Korea energy escalates, that could even mean that storylines around that are coming out. But Aquarius is humanitarianism, and it's also alternative ways of thinking at things. So given the fact that Trump always changes his mind and changes his course. I would assume, being the fact that Mars moves into an air sign, and that also puts that energy in trine by sign to Venus, something unexpected will come out around women, and probably even more awareness of a storyline around women coming out around him, but also things that were hidden will come to light because with that particular sun on the horizon on the day of inauguration, Mars is coming out of the 12th house into the first house, which means something that was hidden in the structure, again, authority figure, which is a president, is coming out into the open. So there's going to be a lot of interesting dynamics coming out this week around the White House and what's going on there. So Pluto, again, Pluto and Saturn, while Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, um, the next couple days with the Sun, and I was going to say he's not touching this new energy of Uranus yet, but he is touching the trine to Sun and Moon, which means Pluto is retrograde, and so there's more. Um, I want to say it's going, well, I'm going to say it's going back over the change that we've been working on for the last 6 months when Pluto was direct. And so as he is retrograde, he's having to relive some of the structure and deep emotional or psychological energy of those decisions around change in the structure that we're dealing with. And then we have the sun and the moon. So sun is father, moon is mother, sun is masculine energy, and moon is feminine receptive, and it's in trine. So there's a major shift with regard to how we look at parents, how we look at the men and women issue, and how we work together. Excuse me, it's a major shift. I mean, I really see that some lovely energy going on with Pluto sextile to Jupiter today, and then Jupiter is opposite the sun and moon right now. So Pluto is working in tandem with Jupiter, which is fortune and expansion and transformation, in the sign of Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. So there's some really positive energy going on there. Although Jupiter is retrograde, moving away, well, I should say, if Pluto were going direct, Jupiter would be moving away, but Pluto is now retrograde, so it means he's kind of chasing Jupiter, and they're both in sextile, meaning 60 degrees away from each other. So they're kind of in cahoots, talking and going back over some old situation. And for us in our own lives, it's going back over the way we think about things psychologically and our deep, our intrinsic behavior and how we treat situations almost on autopilot. Do we just go on autopilot? Do we immediately default to the sad thing when something doesn't go our way? Is it, oh, well, that's terrible, that's horrible, I don't want to do that. What's going on with Uranus to Taurus is now he's bringing the story of, let's look at an alternate way of behaving with the same stimuli. And when that happens, that's when we truly change our lives and when things start to fall into place, because we're no longer responding to the same stimulus in the same way. And you know what they say, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And Uranus is saying, well, you're not going to do that anymore. Now you're looking for a new way of doing it. Mercury in Taurus is, I have to say, I was doing some research, and the 70s, the first half of the 70s were a really great time for me. I mean, I really look back on those years, the 70, 69, 70 through 75, with fondness. And a huge part of that is because of the music. And there's something about that section of the decade that just resonated to my particular tastes. And I probably am not alone in this. I know my aunt has a very strong connection to the 70s music as well. But The 70s had some really strong Taurus energy, and I believe Uranus was in Taurus. Actually, I don't have an ephemeris that goes that far back. Let me look it up here real quick. But yeah, let me see, 1970 ephemeris. And if you're wondering how to do this, I just type it into Google, and then it'll come up with every year, and it'll show you a table of that year. So let's see what was in Taurus that year, if anything was in Taurus that year. Um, well, we had Pluto in Virgo, and we had Saturn in Taurus. It just went in. So in 1970, Saturn was in Taurus. So that was a huge, and Uranus was in Libra, another Venus ruled sign. So I wanted to say that because of that Taurus connection, it's actually the Venus connection in the 70s. We had music that was very melodious, and a lot of it, not that it's not now, I think more music now is probably centered on sex than love. But I do believe Uranus going into Taurus means that we're going to have new ways of expressing our love nature through music. And probably, knowing my personal aesthetic taste, it means that the music that's coming in is probably going to be something that I would enjoy, but it's going to be alternative, and it's probably going to include some type of unusual instrument or technology to make it an appealing sound. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes out of that connection for the next 7 or 8 years. Also, having Neptune in Pisces, that rules poetry. So there's probably an added depth through poetry coming in as well. Okay, let's see. So Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius, I think I talked a little bit about that, but it means that now our drive is going to be expressed through Aquarian energy. And Aquarian energy is the sign of the genius. I say that because really what it is channeled energy, channeled understanding, and it comes into our mind through electrical means. And that means it drops into our brains because our brains, the little cells, talk to each other through synapses. And so the synapses are an electrical impulse. And having Mars in Aquarius means that, yes, you are going to not be able to shut your mind off on some level. And what you're going to want to do is whatever you come up with, whatever inspiration you have, you're going to want to act on it. Mars inclines us to take action. So in Aquarius, Aquarius is usually a thoughtful, intellectual sign that's all up in its mind. Mars is going to say, yes, you're thinking about it, but now is the time to do something about it. Go do it. And it means that we're going to have eccentric ways of expression, and we're going to not necessarily be understood by those around us, because the quantum energy of Aquarius means that we are really listening to the beat of our own drummer, and no one else around necessarily hears that beat. And so we're going to probably be seen a little quirky, a little odd, and yes, all of the cliches of like the Big Bang Theory type people, and Star Wars. We've got Solo coming out in a couple weeks. I think the 25th it goes out, which means that of course Mars will be in Aquarius, and it's probably going to be one of the biggest blockbusters of the year, maybe even bigger than the Avengers if that's possible, because it's going to be under Mars in Aquarius. So it's going to completely speak to that sciencey side of our psyche, and we're going to go do something about it. So it's going to truly inspire us, and we are going to take action. So we're going to do a lot more around invention and technology and electronics. And I would also say back up your computers, because what happens is the electrical energy increases, the vibration coming down on us from other planets, from Mars. Mars is like a magnifying glass in the sky for this energy, and it just comes down really harsh, or not harsh, but pronounced into our world. And that can mean that it overloads electrical systems. It really is a physical material thing, and it can overload your system. So especially with Uranus going into Taurus, which means our material goods and things that we buy and purchase, because it rules retail, look to have new items. I really honestly am kind of concerned because my computer just hit the first year, and I think its warranty is up after the first year. And that's right when everything's going to hit. So I really hope I don't have to get a new one. And I'm going to knock wood for that one. So, universe, and wood is an earth energy. So, round. Anyway, I'm going to take a break here. I hope I gave you some information that can help you, and I can get my words in the proper order. And then we're going to come and take calls. If you would like to get a reading, the number is 347-994-3336. We'll see you in about 2 minutes. And welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio, and I want to thank you for coming back. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. If you are interested in getting a reading from me, you can do it at astrologerangel.com or the sister website, angeliczodiac.com. So, anyway, yeah. So we're going to take some calls. I think that's all I'm going to say for right now there. We're going to take some calls and see what we have on the line, who we have. 561. Hi, 561. Who is this?
Hey, Shelley. This is James from Miami. How are you?
Hi, James from Miami. I'm doing well. It's so good to talk to you. I'm so happy to talk to people. I like the interaction that I have instead of just always like, it's kind of hard when you don't have anyone bouncing off of your words, and it's like, you can be self-conscious. But anyway, and I've done this for like
but I like
8 years, 9 years.
Though.
You like my information? Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I was calling in because I could not sleep for anything last night. I was up all night long, and when I finally went to sleep, I woke up to 555. So I know something is happening, and I'm wondering if you're seeing that anywhere in my chart.
Sorry, I think I turned myself on mute there. I'm messing around. Sorry about that. No, I got you. I heard you. I just couldn't talk back. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, I'm just fiddling with it. I think it's accidentally. I got to put it down so it doesn't knock on anything. So do you know what 555 means?
I believe it means change. That's what I always associate with. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And Uranus, after all that stuff I said about Uranus being scientific and eccentric, it is about change. So when you look in astrology, you see every sign in like going around the zodiac. Each sign has its realm, and then the next one kind of changes to whatever the one before it didn't have. So Capricorn's very linear and structured and grounded and stoic. and it doesn't like to change. And then you get to Aquarius, and Aquarius says, forget all that. I'm going to go and change everything. And so that's where that comes in. And so 555, you're completely in rhythm with what's going on because it is change. And yeah, we're on the precipice. Mars goes into Aquarius, and I'm very excited about that. And you have Jupiter at 10 Aquarius. So you're going to have Mars on your Jupiter. How exciting is that?
Oh, Lord.
Do you know what it means?
Oh, thank God. No, I don't.
Okay, well, Jupiter is planet of fortune, and what Jupiter does is it kind of flits around and gathers information and says, "Oh, this is fun. This is fun." And it likes to go from adventure to adventure, and because it doesn't put too much power or energy in waiting around for results, it really brings in this fluidity and flow of energy that gives us a lot of fortune. And so Jupiter is it's called the great benefic because where it is in your chart, that's where it highlights fortune in your world. And so as Mars gets close to Jupiter, you're going to have a lot of fortune. And for you, it's in Aquarius. Again, Aquarius can be entrepreneurship, but for you, it's in the house of commitment, and it's a Scorpio house, which is joint finances and money that connects to others, like partnership money. And Jupiter is fortune. So if you're thinking of getting a business going and having a partner with that, it's a really fortuitous time to do that for you.
Wow.
Yeah. Is that something you're interested in?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Cool.
So that's
so
amazing.
it's a breaking open moment for you. And I definitely think Uranus going into Taurus. Wait a minute. What the heck is that? Oh, okay. I'm looking. I just forwarded my. When I was on break, I forwarded the time for my now chart. I usually have a chart open for the beginning of the show, and I forwarded it to 11:30. I'm like, wait a minute, how is Uranus and Taurus already? Because I forwarded my now chart, and that was just silly. Anyway, it's about to be in there for you. I know. I swear I'm a little bit dorky when this happens because that's the energy of Uranus. It's like, you're going to be a geek now. Anxiety or eccentricity. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just like, you're just, quirky. I think quirky is a really good word for Aquarius and Uranus energy. So, do you have a specific question?
Oh, no, I just wanted to know what the heck was going on with me because I could not sleep at all. And then that happened. I'm like, okay, something's up. Something's happening. And
it is. And it's interesting because my son has 3 planets, the moon, Uranus, and Neptune, all in the first 8 degrees of Aquarius. 2 of them are the first degree of Aquarius. So he's going to get hit really hard. I've got to text him after I'm off the show. Like, just know that today's going to be an interesting day because, we're off to the races. It's like Mars in Aquarius. Uranus rules Aquarius, and Mars going into Aquarius with Uranus going into Taurus. Huge sign for retail, entrepreneurship, money systems changing, awareness of alternative ways of doing things is coming in, and it's a highly clear sign. Like when you can't sleep, that's because there's this amazing, I've got chills, we've got this amazing opening of understanding. And our lovely friend, I believe, just dropped off. So, James, you can call back in and I'll keep an eye out. I hope he calls back in because I just dropped him. So, I'll talk for a little bit. We have some listeners, but nobody's raised their hand, and our caller just dropped off. So, I'll talk about his chart as if he were here. Maybe in about a minute, he'll realize that he can call back in and we can get him again. I hope he calls in on the same number because I've got 3 different phone numbers and none of them are yours, James. Anyway, having this energy coming in, being that electrical and Mars, again, action, it's going to light us up like a light bulb. We're going to be sitting there basically channeling and downloading information like we've never known. And it actually, I think, will make us feel pretty happy. I think that Taurus, the energy of Taurus is about love because of Venus, but air signs tend to be a little bit more cheerful, I think, than the rest of the zodiac. And so, yeah, I've got another number. Let me just real quick see if this is James.
Oh.
Hi, is this James?
No, this is Valerie.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a caller and he dropped, but I'm going to take you now since James is making an action. So we'll just go to you. Have you called the show before?
No, I have not.
Okay, great. You said your name was Valerie?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And give me a second to just set up a little chart here, and I can take your birth information, but I've got to put some stuff in. Okay.
Do I have to give the complete birth date? I'm not too sure I want to do that.
Oh, well, yeah, because the year is how we find out what's going on in your chart, and it's all about timing. So, yeah.
I can give the year. I can give the year. I just don't want to give the place.
Okay. Is the place different from where you live, where you were born?
Yeah.
If the place where Okay. If you can give the place you were born, that would be helpful. If you want to give another place in the similar vicinity, that would still probably work for our purposes. Okay?
Can I just say it's on the East Coast?
Well, the problem is on the East Coast, if you give a general East Coast, then the rising sign can change depending on where on the East Coast, whether it's New York City or Miami. It'll be a different rising sign. So the closer, if you want to give me a state, I'll just put in the city. If you can give someplace close by, like I said, it doesn't have to be the exact state, but if you could give someplace close by, that would be helpful.
Let's go far as Georgia.
Okay, I'll just put in Atlanta because that's our go-to city for Atlanta, for Georgia. So we'll just do that. And then, yeah, where are the date and time if you can?
5/25/54.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the time.
Do you know if it's morning or evening?
It would be, I think it's late night.
Okay, so we'll do, let's say 10:30 p.m. Would that work? Or is it like closer to in the morning? Okay. Okay, we'll try that. If we don't get if it doesn't feel good, then we'll just do a sunrise, and that can be okay too. Sunrise charts. You said 5/25/54?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see what we have. So this gives you a Capricorn rising, and just so you have an idea what Capricorn is, it can make you a tall person because it's how other people see us, and generally Capricorn rules the bones and the skeleton, and when we have a strong Capricorn energy in our chart, we can be very tall because we just tend to grow more. It's an earth energy, so it just gives us height. You have Mars in Capricorn. Pardon me?
I think I may be an Aquarius rising.
Okay. Okay, well there is Aquarius in the first house, so let's make it a little bit later. And Aquarius means that we're much more we're sharp, and we definitely don't want to be told what to do. So let me just, is that you?
That's me.
Okay, I'm going to just put you at 11:40 p.m. and that'll give you an Aquarius rising, and that's only 20 minutes before midnight, so that's probably pretty close to what you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have, I just put up your chart, but I didn't put up what's going on in the sky right now, so let me just get that going so I can tell you what's going on. Okay, I don't know why I'm smelling peanut butter toast. I had that for breakfast. It's smelling up the house again. Like, where did that come from? That was like hours ago. Anyway, I'm sorry. I see that's what Aquarius energy does. Complete non sequiturs where nothing, like, why are you talking about that? Anyway, so you have Saturn right on your Mars right now. So there is a really strong energy around owning the drive you have to be an authority in whatever it is that you express yourself in. So in your chart, your Mars falls into the house of social groups and people associated with whatever you do for career. That is also in positive aspect to Jupiter, which is in the middle of the sky right now for you. So according to when you were born, that puts Jupiter in the sky if you could have the day exactly as it was when you were born, Jupiter would be right in the middle of the sky right now. And so that means it's shining light and fortune on your career. And it's in positive aspect to Saturn right now. So there's some a really strong energy being flowed into your idea around what you want to do for career. There's a strong inkling to make some changes and possibly an offer of a job in another city or far away. Do you feel that at all? That you're wanting to make some shifts? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, Mars going into Aquarius, of course, right now it's in your 12th house with Capricorn in the 12th, and that means that you've been really working on changing how you think about your own personal authority within your career, and whether or not what you're doing is getting you what you want. The actions you're taking, are they really still valid for what you want? And honestly, Mars is on your Chiron, which means that you're probably having some stress in your career, and it could come from an authority figure not appreciating you. It could come from your own personal fears of what's going to happen. Like, can I trust this? Am I going to be secure? I don't know, because there's a wounding in your chart. And also Capricorn connects to dad. So there may be some type of impression you got from what your father did in his career. I'm getting chills with that. So that the impression that you got from what dad was all about deeply wounded you in your spirit. And you're being challenged to see that in a new way and really look at that situation and own the fears. In other words, not be swayed by what happened in that situation, because you're about to embark on a whole new era that is going to be a really big shift and change for you in who you are as a person. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
So Mars moving into your first house means that you are really awakening to a personal truth, and you're going to have a lot more clarity about who you are and about how smart you are. Like, you're really a Sharpie, okay? And you don't have to hide it. I got chills with this. You have Sun in Gemini, and it's at early degrees, which means Mars is moving into a trine with your Sun. And, if you weren't really respected for your intellect around the family, it's going to be better when Mars goes into Aquarius. You're really going to get the spotlight. And Jupiter up at your midheaven also. Jupiter just moved back into your house of higher education. So it's kind of going back over some information that you recently learned and a growth cycle from the beginning of the year. There were interests that you may have had about travel and finding out further information. And I have to tell you, Jupiter in Scorpio is really affecting your career from a growth standpoint, because you also have Saturn in Scorpio. And your Saturn in Scorpio is in the 9th house, which is education, but it's also research. So I don't know, do you do any kind of research or educate? Are you a teacher or trainer of some sort, or are you like an eternal learner? Because education and learning. You're an eternal learner. Yeah, it's fun though. That's I'm like that. I have a lot of I have Mars in the 9th house, so I could always go back to. I would live at college if I could. It's like, I just explore and meet people and learn about things, and it would be so fun. But yeah, right now that's really being triggered again. And it's going to be that way probably through the end of the year. Let me just real quick look over here at my chart and tell you how long that energy is going to be affecting growth as opposed to moving forward with career. So let's see, Jupiter only gets to 11 degrees at the end of the year, and that's still, oh, wait a minute, it's in Sagittarius, so it does get out of there. Hang on a second, I got to back it up a little bit to see. 21 degrees of Scorpio is where your midheaven is. That's like the 12 on a clock. When I say midheaven, if you look at a clock and you see the number 12, that's where your midheaven is on a chart, right? At that spot. So it's like where the sun is at noon. If you think of it like, okay, the sky and the sun's shining down on us fully at noon. That's the energy of what Jupiter's doing for your life right now. It's shining its fortune right down on you. And because he's retrograde, he's saying, okay, you were about to do something really expansive with your career and something you're passionate about. But wait a minute, you've got a couple little psychological blips that you have to go back over that are holding you back. And it has to do with how you value yourself. Okay. That's kind of the theme. Like, are you valuable? Do you want more money? And if you do you really see yourself as allowing that kind of income? Because if you do, then you'll get it. It's coming. It's going to come. The end of September is when Jupiter actually goes back into your house of career. And so September is going to be a huge time for you for a new path. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's when you actually get a job that maybe is farther away from where you live right now. It's going
Okay.
to, yeah, you're going to get something that comes in. It's really good. I mean, definitely, I think that there's a chance for you to move. But let me see what else is going on in September here, real quick. Um, yeah,
When you say
literally,
farther away, are we talking
yeah,
in another city or another state?
yeah, another state.
Another state? Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Jupiter is long distance travel. Mercury is short distance. Jupiter's long distance. So when Jupiter's on your midheaven, and it's in the house that it rules, it wants to go far away. It wants like big adventures, and it wants to like go a long way from where it is. So we're talking other states. Yeah. Let's see. So on the 27th of September, if you want to write that date down, the 27th of September is when Jupiter is exactly on your midheaven and is moving forward. So from then, and even after it goes into Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the sign it rules. So next year, from November 9th all the way through next year, um, Jupiter will be in its own sign and it wants to go and move. So again, you'll have two very strong dates of demarcation of times when you're going to shift and bring in something new and big. Like, this is big adventure stuff. And the other date is November 9th. I mean, it can happen around that date. It can happen just before. It can happen a week after. But that's the date that tells you there's a shift. And Jupiter at 0 degrees of Sagittarius on the 9th of November. Then Venus goes direct on the 16th of November. You've got Mars moving into Pisces on the 16th also. And what else happens? Oh, 2 days before, you have Uranus moving back into Aries. So, yeah, November 7th is when Uranus goes back into Aries until February. And so that'll shift a little bit of energy that we've been spending the majority of this year growing towards this opening. And so when it happens then, so what I would say for you, the first week in November, there's definitely some ability to take action and move far away. But what is Uranus? Uranus is in your house of thought and communication. So I would say that if you are already setting up something for moving far away, that could be a difficulty around the communication side of it. So, like, oh, hey, you're coming to our job and we need these papers signed. They may get lost in translation somewhere. So it's a like upset around, like, wait a minute, that information isn't given the way I thought it was. Or if you get a job offer, it could be that they say, well, we're going to go back and talk to someone else. And then and Uranus, I have to tell you, Uranus is a planet of the unexpected and it will change on a dime. So whatever you think is coming your way, it may actually evaporate really quickly. So I just want to tell you, over the course of this year, know that things can change quickly, and they're probably more likely to change in November because Taurus, the sign Uranus is going into for the rest of the year until November, is very stable and grounded. So the energy wants to express through material means. So instead of like ideas shifting, it's more about the structure of the physical things around you and how you interact in the material world. They can change. So it's probably more about um, let me try and combine. I'm looking at your chart because it falls in your third house, which is all about thoughts, but it's in Taurus. So it's about um, bringing your ideas into a tangible expression, such as music or art, and expressing through the arts. And let me see. Yeah, I would focus on that. So from today forward, it's going to be really strong about bringing new ideas of how you express yourself and communicate your desires and dreams in an artistic or material sense. So through money, through investment, through even I know it may sound crazy, but retail therapy or designing clothes. I mean, anything that associates with aesthetics or beauty is going to be something that you'll be interested in pursuing as an expression. And you may even come up with an idea that is inventive and you want to produce that in this coming 6 months. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
I was wondering if there's a relationship anywhere in between there.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely you have some energy coming in with Sun and Moon in Taurus, and it's in your house of home and family. That can always bring people that make us feel at home and make us feel connected to, like, hey, you just fall into the relationship where it's really comfortable and you'll eat dinner together and you're very domestic together. You have Neptune within 2 degrees of your moon right now. Neptune's going to be going retrograde pretty soon here. Let me see when that happens. And then it will be directly on your moon. It only goes a couple degrees a year, so it's a really slow moving planet, but it's hovering right around your moon. So again, that's also family. So if you're looking to meet someone, let's see, Mars is going into your first house. Oh, you're going to be lit up like a Christmas tree. People are going to be coming out of the woodwork to hang out with you, trust me. Friendships will just go off the hook. Yeah, you have an Aquarius rising, which makes you very bubbly and cheerful. Like I said, the air signs are some of the most happy people in the zodiac, and people are attracted to that kind of light. And having Mars there, that's a guy. The thing I want to caution you about with is that you will have probably lots of people, and there'll be lots of new friends, but they can also be people who come and go quickly, and they're on. It's what is the saying? A reason or a season. So these are
Okay.
people who come in for a season, which is more quickly. They're going to be coming, and I got chills with that. So I know you're going to be meeting lots of people. And I guess what I would caution you about, or just make you aware of, because you also have Venus and Gemini in the house of romance, is that you're going to have a really quick intellectual connection to these people, but they're not necessarily those who are going to be sticking around for the long haul. There are people who are coming in to give you the idea of what it is that you like and what it is that you don't, so that you can build your list. Venus going into Cancer soon will actually also help you with a romance. Hang on a second, because Venus and Gemini, the friends are coming at you, and that's also romance too. You can find romance through friends, and it may not necessarily mean that the person you meet is going to be a friend, but maybe someone a friend knows. And then when Venus goes into Cancer, I'm looking that up for you real quick here. It's going to be 20th of May. That's a good date too, because you'll have that Sun moving into Gemini, which is again that, hey, that's your birthday. You're going to get the attention. But Venus in Cancer means that there's a connection to home, and it's also right near Jupiter and your natal Venus. So you'll be in a Venus return, and the fortune of Jupiter is going to shine that light. So I think that for you, you do really well getting romance through friends or through traditional channels. Even though you have Aquarius in the first house, you'll definitely, if you go online to do online dating, you're going to get a lot of people noticing you. But what you want is somebody who is more water earth in their chart. You've got a little bit of fire and a little bit of air, but the majority, you've got actually 3 planets in air, 1 in fire, and 6 in earth and water. So earth and water tends to be your expression, especially with Mars and Capricorn. So look for I'm sorry, I just had the notice from the lady in my ear telling me I have 90 seconds. She's really loud.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, the earth and water are going to be where you feel most comfortable and where you're going to really connect to people. So like Taurus would be good for you, and we have the planets in Taurus right now, because Taurus is very stable and very reliable, but Aquarius energy is going to be infused with Uranus, and that will give you the excitement, the mental excitement that you may not otherwise have, because Taurus can be very practical and plotting in their thinking, and they don't make decisions quickly, and it's like, okay, are you going to do this? When Uranus goes into Taurus, which is today, in 20 minutes, It's going to really infuse their brain like this extra energy where they're much more aware of things and much more curious. So it's going to really brighten up the energy of Taurus to be a little bit faster paced and a little bit mentally quick. And where they normally like to just take their time and figure things out slowly, it's really going to hype them up. And that can actually be a benefit to you. And if you meet somebody who has Taurus or someone, in the next month, that would be really good in your chart. And it's a potential, but I think if you meet someone, it's going to be through friends or family. So,
Okay.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, because I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll also look to educational arenas or school, that kind of thing too, because Jupiter and Scorpio is commitment, but it's in education and travel. So education and travel are also realms you can meet someone. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, good luck to you, and definitely call back and let us know how it goes.
I will.
All right.
You. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye, Valerie. Okay, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening in, and we'll see you next week at the regular time. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
Since Buffalo Wild Wings is always open late, here are a few things you'll enjoy. Buzzer beaters, wings in 21 signature sauces and seasonings, and great deals on food and beer. Grab select domestic draft beer starting at $3.75. $4 shareables like street tacos, fried pickles, chili queso dip, mozzarella sticks, and roasted garlic mushrooms. And deals on select liquor and house cocktails. Phew, that's a mouthful. Catch all of the late night action. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Offers and participation vary. Please drink responsibly. Void where prohibited.
To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.